Good morning, LinkedIn, Twitch, Periscope, Facebook, and of course, YouTube. How did I forget YouTube? My name is Frank Lavinia, and you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Frank Digs Data. Today is another unboxing video because I got myself a little bit of a treat. Call it a belated Easter gift, but let me set it up. So for those that don't know me, I'm not picky about a lot of things, right? I'll eat my pizza cold. I'll eat some of my food cold, except maybe fries and mozzarella sticks because those are nasty. But I do low carb, so not an issue anymore. But when it comes to one thing, I am extremely particular, and that's keyboards. For the longest time, my favorite keyboard was the Microsoft Ergonomic keyboard, which shame on me. I should have brought it out, but let me tell you about my new keyboard fascination. Obviously, I do work for Microsoft, so take the recommendation as you will. But Microsoft does make some awesome keyboards and mice. In fact, this is currently my favorite mouse. It is the wireless Ergonomic. It comes with the funky kind of semi-split keyboard. I thought I would like that better than I actually did. It's a little too out there. For years, my favorite keyboard was the Ergonomic 3000. And when I went to the Microsoft Employee Store online, found out they don't make that one anymore. So for those who don't know, in the, I guess, circa 2001, 2000 timeframe, they made a keyboard called the Office XP keyboard. And that was the most divine keyboard I've ever had the privilege of using. I mean, it was awesome. It had built-in copy-paste buttons. It had a scroll wheel on the left side. And, I mean, it was just perfect. It was a little bit broken apart, so you had kind of that little bit of that ergonomic feel. And if you're a software developer or a data scientist, or, I mean, realistically, with the pandemic, we're spending a lot of time from our keyboards. Although I would say you got to take care of your wrists. Right, this is kind of key. Other alternative technologies have come, but they're not quite mainstream yet. And try as I might to use dictation to assist in writing, it's just not natural to talk that much. And the tone of which you write is different than the tone of which you speak. Right, it is what it is. So for me, I was a little upset that they didn't make the Ergonomic 3000 anymore. In fact, Micro Center, I think, had them, but as a Microsoft employee, I get a pretty decent discount. So with that, I did get just the keyboard, just as an experiment, because we get a really good price. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to share the price I get, but it was really good. So I got one of these the other day because I am slowly replacing my Ergonomic 3000s with these as they kind of get old and get used. This is I think this is just called the Ergonomic Desktop. And it is awesome. I got the kit with the, let me make sure I'm closer to the mic. I got the kit with the mouse because I've seen this mouse and I want to give this mouse a try. I definitely needed a new keyboard for my desk with the walking desk. For me, I'm weird about keyboards. Like I said, having different keyboards kind of throws me off, and shame on me for not being plastic enough. But I want to use the only computer PC I have that obviously I have the big rig there, this one, and then my Microsoft PC. I just have a laptop that I just kind of plug in there, and I have a docking station. These are first world problems. I'm first to admit that. The other thing I noticed is that my main work PC, I have one of these and it will just randomly stop working. So I was like, for a little bit more, I get the bundle, and this is what I got. I'm already a fan of this keyboard, right? I like the way it feels. That it has that kind of just that little sweet spot. Let me see if you can hear it. Just a little bit of that sweet spot, a little of that mechanical kind of tactile feel, but not too much. Not like the old IBM, like click, 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 click ones. Did I mention I'm a little obsessive about my keyboards? Everybody has a personality quirk, I guess. All right, so let's see what's in the box. It's the first time I ever bought kind of this whole kit. So this is obviously keyboard. I guess the accessible packaging hasn't quite reached everywhere. So we'll pull this out, and if we look, all right, not the most exciting thing in the world, but let's see how the mouse feels. Put this down. How's everyone doing out there? David McDonald. How's it going, sir? So these are wired. I like the wired stuff because I suspect it's just a pain. Like I have to get it. I like the wire stuff. One, it's impossible or very difficult to lose the mouse. And secondly, I just like I just like wires. Like call me old school, old fashioned. But it is what it is. And no, so these are wired. They do make. David is my manager at Microsoft. Awesome guy. I'm not just saying that because he's my manager, but he is an awesome guy. But yeah, so this was well, I can tell you on a Teams private message how much it costs, but let's just say this was the kit. This is the wired one. They do make wireless keyboards. I'm not a fan of the wireless keyboards because that adds another thing. Like, wouldn't you know it, when I'm in the middle of something, the battery dies, right? Like, and I think that's what's wrong with that one, right? And then I always think like, oh, I'm going to bring down a bunch of batteries for when I need it. And then what happens is my office is in the basement. And oh, you're welcome, David. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, so I like the wire stuff. There's no batteries to worry about, and I try to set up my desk so if it doesn't reach directly, I have a USB hub, things like that. I'm very particular. I've actually worked for David entirely during the pandemic, so we've never actually worked in an office. So he has not experienced my keyboard snobbery. Right? Some people get very particular about their wines. Some people about their beers. Some people about their coffee. Now, for me, it's keyboards. Serious. I mean, for me, I just that's just who I am, right? Everybody has their thing. So this is wired. I like the feel of this. The one thing I really do love about this keyboard is that there's a nice little, like, you look where your hand kind of rests on it. The one feature I never really used is this. If I press this, the Windows key goes up, right? Or that's like pressing the Windows key. I haven't really gotten into that. I just don't find that kind of natural. But I like the way this kind of just cradles your whole hand. And when I saw this kind of does the same thing. It's a little bit of a smaller form factor. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Awesome. I knew you're awesome because ergonomic keyboards are your thing too. I used to have the other one. I don't know if you were on the stream when I talked about that. The one that's wireless and kind of is a little more split, kind of has that little notch out in the middle. I have that one. I don't really like it. I thought I would love it. And for the first couple of days, I'm like, yeah, I like it, but it's just a little too different. What's cool about that one is it's also kind of a pain. It has a separate wireless, number pad, which I actually would repeatedly lose, or I'd have a book. You can see my desk is somewhat messy, or like something would fall on it. It would just start punching numbers in the screen randomly. I have a comment from John. Hey, John, how's it going? Yeah, the pollen is pretty nasty. I mean, last week I was in Deep Creek Lake, Maryland, which is kind of where Maryland meets the Appalachian Mountains, for lack of a better term. I think strictly speaking, it's the Allegheny. So if you're a geography nerd, no. So, and then the pollen was starting to get to me, and then boom, they had snow, and frost tends to kill pollen or at least reduce it dramatically. So for the rest of the vacation, it was a slow build up back up. But now it's not so bad here because it rained, but definitely it's going to be, I think it's going to have a bad pollen season, which of course, coughing and sniffling in the midst of a pandemic, that's going to make you a hit at socially distanced parties for sure. I have a comment from Twitch. Awesome. I haven't really done much with Twitch. I want to rectify that in the coming months. You'll see soon. I have an important announcement I'll be making shortly. But hopefully I will expand the brand into Twitch as well. I know Twitch is a slightly different culture, but I think Twitch is definitely a growth platform. Personally, I think my home will always be LinkedIn because I'm reaching out to fellow nerds and geeks and data scientists and AI folk. I mean, I think that's what it is. And we have a comment from Javi. Looks like a wired version of the Surface Ergo keyboard and mouse. Yeah, I have not gotten that one. Um, I have not looked at the Surface Ergo keyboard. It looks a lot like it now that I think about it. The mouse is definitely, I think, very close to it. I also love those little for traveling. Back when we could travel, the little fold flat mouse. In fact, I have one here. Hang on. This one, right? I have two of these. One with a Bluetooth dongle and one without. And what's cool about this, it folds flat and then boom, like that's it. Now, if I had the dongle is actually in use because, like I said, this mouse on the Microsoft computer has gone, but this actually is magnetic. So here's another USB thing. So you can actually put the dongle there. Dongle tends to get lost in my bag, so I usually just leave it in the computer. But I love this because it's fold flat and boom. David, oh yeah. So the one with the it's called the Sculpt keyboard. You're right. I forgot the name. I don't know. I like it. I like it. It is very petite, kind of a thin, kind of low profile. It's just that I don't know. It just never clicked with me. And I have it actually on the treadmill desk, which is off camera. But it's just switching keyboards. It kind of switches my mind. And I have a stack of keyboards. I have the old late 90s Ergo keyboard. In fact, if you're patient, I can bring it out. Hold on. Host socially distant parties. Yes. I mean, why not, right? Outdoors, good weather. Virus tends not to propagate too much in open public spaces, tends to. There's a lot of research around airflow and things like that. Hold that thought while I go and get my relic in the collection. All right, so I know David will enjoy watching this one. This here is the pride of my keyboard collection. It's so old that it actually comes with this, I think it's a PS2 adapter, right? Most kids won't even know what that is. So I searched high and low and found one of these at Micro Center. And of course, now I can't get it back in because this is why, kids, I got rid of the PS2 adapter. All right, plug that in. There you go. So now it's a USB keyboard, and it actually works remarkably well. This one, I got this in 2004, 2002. I got it when I was still living in New Jersey. So that would be 2 to 2.5 years after September 11th. Yes, the Arc keyboard, the Arc mouse is pretty cool. I like that design. I will say Microsoft makes incredible hardware. And it's really underappreciated in terms of how good the Microsoft hardware is. Like when people hear Microsoft hardware, their first thought is Xbox, maybe Surface, or anything that brand. But the keyboards are top notch. And like I said, if you shop at the Microsoft Employee Store, you can't beat the price. Like, so yeah. So this is an oldie but goodie, man. This is one of my favorites from old school times. Nice. John remembers. Yeah, this was a cool one. I actually, when I was working at Merrill Lynch, would have been while I was in college, I was working at Merrill Lynch, and they actually had an experimental kind of version of this, of an ergonomic keyboard. And people either loved it or hated it. And I think it's still true today. Like, I like this, the feel of this. If you hear, just a little too mechanic-y on the side, but the thing that really made this from not being my main work driver is this. It doesn't have the inverted T. Did I mention I'm particular about my keyboards? Yeah, this kind of this funky new wave placement of the arrows, even though I guess logically it makes more sense, it just doesn't work for me. Like, you know, yes, David, a classic. I bet you have one or two of these, or have had one or two of these in the past. But I like this. Like it's just very comfortable, and it's just pretty much that. If you're not sure what I mean when I talk about the inverted T, this is effectively what I mean. And I guess since this is an unboxing, I should take the wrapping off. There we go. So that's the inverted T. I don't know. It just, I've been using that since when I had my Commodore 64. So that's just kind of just wired in there. I suppose I should adopt a growth mindset. But you know, is what it is. What's cool about this one is that, well, here's the one thing I don't like. So if I'm blessed to have anyone from the product team kind of here, is I don't like the fact that the right mouse click, or the context button, I think this is called more properly, is only in one place. So this basically, wherever you mouse over, this will basically act like a right mouse click. It's only in one place. I've slowly gotten used to that. My other keyboard has it in both sides, but you will see that they have two other keys here. There's an emoji one. So apparently in, I think it's Windows key period, we'll pull up the emoji keyboard in Windows 10. Don't ask me which exact version of Windows 10 that came about, but it's there. If you have anything from at least the last year, it's there. So this will pull that up, right? That's a little shortcut key. That's convenient. Honestly, I'd rather have the context key there, but is what it is. And there's also the Office button, which will bring up kind of your Office dashboard that's installed locally. You can probably remap them. I mean, I haven't actually experimented with that, but you probably could remap them. And there's also a number of function keys, not function keys, but kind of shortcut keys. There's the calculator, there's the zoom, there's media kind of control. So this is not, that's not the key thing there. But if you listen to the keyboard, it has that just that little kiss of mechanical interaction, but not kind of that overdo it. I think this one is slightly over it. If you hear that, just a little. Did I mention I'm particular about my keyboards? Yes, I figured you would. Yeah, so same here. So when we had those sample ones at Merrill, they were kind of experimenting these really whack. When the one that came out was a little bit less radical than the ones that we had, but I actually liked them. I was, I would say about 80% of the people didn't like them and 20% did. I kind of liked it once you got used to it, and like you just realize kind of, having your hands like this is not as natural as just having them like this. I mean, I can't, I can suffer through a laptop, but laptop keyboard. In fact, when I go laptop shopping, the number one thing I have to try, and makes it hard to do it online, is the keyboard, because you're kind of stuck with that keyboard. Well, you could do an external one, docking station. Lord knows I've done that. When it comes to multiple monitors, I'm also a little obsessed, but that's a story for another video. But yeah, these are awesome. I have it around because I just can't bear to part with it. I don't know, David, did you ever have the Office XP keyboard, which was kind of like a little bit of a hybrid? It was probably like halfway between that radical kind of ergo keyboard and kind of these ones, these newer ones. It was kind of like the bridge between them. Plus, it had all these Office specific kind of things off to the side, so you can be like copy paste, launch Word, launch Excel. Like it was very cool. I remember just, I was so sad because I broke on the move to Richmond, one of them. So I ended up going to an MVP summit. I remember going to the MVP summit, and you could shop in the physical Microsoft store, Microsoft prices and stuff like that. This is way before the Microsoft opened the brick and mortar stores. And it broke, and I was so upset. So when I went to Seattle, when I went to the Microsoft campus for maybe the first time, is for a tablet PC influencers kind of airlift thing, and I ended up basically filling my suitcase, because I think it was like $25. I don't know that I can kind of reveal that. But anyway, it was cheap enough that I'm like, this is the last of them. So the last of them finally gave out. One of them broke in another move. And then so I think they all finally just died on me. But I remember coming back with like 3 keyboards in my suitcase, and I'm sure like my roommate was like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" I'm like, "These things are awesome." So and that was after I think they stopped making them at that point. Um, so yeah, I don't remember. I maybe it wasn't. I'll have to look it up because maybe it wasn't the Office XP keyboard, but it was basically it was. I remember the label. It had Clippy, it had a picture of Clippy and Einstein and dog on it, and it was basically the box, not the keyboard. Although that would be kind of retro cool. No, this had a. Don't tell me. It had the box on it. It had works with Office XP or something like that, and it was just yeah. I remember picking it up at Comp USA. There's a name for old school. Speaking of old school, Lionel and I went to high school together. Xavier High School, Sons of Xavier. Keep on marching. Maroon and blue will see you through. It's funny what you remember. This is old school. Commodore 64. Commodore 64 got me through high school. And then when I went to college, I upgraded to a Macintosh LC, which was one of the first. I think it was one of the first color Macs, but it was one of the first affordable color Macs. And I had modified that baby like through the years, and ultimately I made the switch to a PC. Although right here I finally broke down like a year and a half ago and got a Macintosh, a used one because the prices of the new ones, not on board with that yet. But obviously I love my Windows. I'm not just saying that because I think my manager's still watching. Um, but I'll have to look that up because it's got to be on some retro hardware site somewhere. The Office XP keyboard. It looked a lot like um, the ergonomic one, and it had kind of this kind of beige kind of handrest, and then like a handrest off to the side, so you can kind of like surf and be like hunched over and have like one hand here that can control like copy paste. So if you're doing a lot of copy and pasting stuff, it was awesome for that. But I have been going for a while. I want to thank you, David, Javi, Zafons, Lionel, and of course John, for being on the comments and watching live. And you can help indulge me in my keyboard craziness. But I will definitely be streaming a lot more. I've made a commitment to kind of stream at least every weekday. Sometimes when my kids are in karate class, I'll go and I'll stream while they're doing that, kind of talk about that. Thanks for the comments. I really enjoy it. And what's really cool, and David will appreciate this, is that so I work at the Microsoft MTC, and my focus is obviously data and artificial intelligence. But I've been working on, after attending kind of a hackathon with my Power Apps and kind of Power Automation and robotic process automation colleague, I got my first taste of kind of Power Apps and Power Flow and things like that. It's awesome. So what'll actually happen is that once I'm done with this, an agent that I wrote with no code, so I guess I didn't really write it, I built just by drag and drop components, will go and take this video and post it to franksworld.com. In fact, maybe you're watching this on franksworld.com now. So that saves me the step of manually blogging it. I've been doing a lot of experiments with desktop automation tool, and I've been doing some experiments with PowerFlow and things like that, and it's just awesome. I even got my own Office tenant because I just want to build my own stuff and my own little sandbox and things like that. And it's just impressive kind of what's coming down the pike on there. In fact, actually, if you look at franksworld.com, there's actually a discussion by a YouTuber whose name, of course, I forget right now, which means I need more coffee. Where he goes through this whole thing, like, if you're just getting started or you're established in kind of the building out UIs for web applications and stuff, you should really start thinking about your plan B now, because between AI and low code, no code, that job market may not be as hot 5 years from now as it is today. And it's certainly, I think right now, not as hot as it was 10, 15 years ago, back when I was doing UI stuff. So this is whenever I get a chance to talk to kind of students and things like that about careers in STEM, I was like, software engineering or the technology space is, if you don't like continuous learning, you're going to be miserable. I mean, you'll make bank, that's for sure, but you're going to burn out if you don't like learning. If you just want a job where you just sit there and you do the same thing for the next 20 years and just take this off and put it on the shelf, this is totally not the job for you. Like, absolutely. And I don't say that in an elitist way. I mean, I think we're born naturally curious and naturally kind of want to learn, and the education system kind of beats it out of us, if you will. But if you embrace that, if you embrace the growth mindset, as my boss's boss is prone to say, it is definitely you're going to enjoy yourself a lot more, and you're going to have a lot more opportunities over the years. Okay. Yes, automation. I'm a big fan of automation. In fact, I actually have a number of automation tools I built over the years for Frank's World to push out content. Power Apps and Power Flow is just taking it to the next level. I mean, the Power Desktop thing, I have a thing where I paste in a URL. Say I want to share a video from Channel 9 or YouTube. I paste in a URL and click. I hit run. I get my sip of coffee. I go to the other computer. I come back, the post is ready for me, and I just hit publish, right? Most of the delay has to do with I'm using a Windows client. One thing I want to do in the near future is kind of make it API to API, and maybe even build an API connector that I can drop in to Power Automate Flow, so to even further streamline the process. So this question comes from Thomas, a longtime viewer. Thomas, am I playing with the Percept DK yet? No, not yet. Although a little birdie told me that I'm getting one in the mail, which for reasons I won't elucidate now, maybe I'll have a chance to play with it for a few days. Let's just put it that way. Or assuming it arrives in time. And I'll just stop on that note. So thanks, Thomas. Thanks, David. Thanks, John. Thanks, Zafons, Javi, and of course, the awesome John Wood and high school chum Lionel for dropping in live. I appreciate the comments. Oh, it just came in? Your Percept DK? Ooh. I'll be watching the mail truck today very closely. Of course, I have dogs, so they'll let me know when they're here. But yeah, I'm definitely fascinated by that. Is it? Well, I'm not sure how much I can publicly say about Percept, but just leave it there. So I have some work I need to do, and I'm not just saying that because my manager's here. I have a stacked kind of list of things I want to get done before lunchtime. And thumbs up to you, sir. Thumbs up to you, sir. I will definitely be I'll be definitely stocking the mail trucks today. Yeah, for those of you on the stream or watching this live or later, if you want to learn more about AI, I can't recommend John Wood's channel enough. He comes up with some really good tutorials. If you want to know more about ML.net, really good stuff there. He also does a lot of stuff with Databricks, things like that. You can head on over to franksworld.com, search for John Wood, and all the posts that I've highlighted, and I've only highlighted, I think, a fraction of the stuff he produces. So big fan of yours, John. John, you have definitely figured out the YouTube algorithm, something even I haven't figured out. I think my kids actually started, my younger son apparently has a YouTube channel that mom didn't tell me about. And I wouldn't say he has more subscribers than me yet, but his growth trajectory is promising. So college may be paid for. All right, I'm going to go unplug. I'm going to go plug this new mouse in and try to enjoy it and not have to fuss with batteries anymore. You have a fantastic day out there, and hopefully the allergies won't be too bad. You can check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Frank Diggs Data, as well as all of these fine URLs, franksworld.com, datadriven.tv, impactquantum.com. In fact, I'm actually sometime this weekend going to finally edit the article we did with the interview Andy and I did with Carlos and from Sequel Trails. And that was a fun event. And I will play the outro graphics, and you have a fantastic day.